About, and we got to move this quick. We got a lot to talk about, and at this point in time, I'm going to call the court to order. I'd like to ask William if he would just say the invocation for us.
Let's pray. Father God, we come to you this morning seeking your guidance and your wisdom. Lord, we pray that all the decisions made here today would benefit this county and the people therein. Lord, we pray your blessings and your mercy on the people that have lost all their homes and the people that are in distress in this county. And Lord, we pray that you guide us to make the decisions that can help those people. We ask it all in the sweet name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Judge Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Scott.
Present.
Commissioner Atkins.
Present.
Commissioner Lewis.
Present.
We have a quorum. We are ready to proceed. Well, I'm sorry. Bubby, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure will, Judge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Next item is the approval of the minutes of the February 4th meeting of the Fiscal Court. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Atkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lewis. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott.
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes.
Judge Jones.
Yes. Next item is I'm going to talk just a little bit about what's taking place in the county. I'm going to do it the first part of the meeting, so hopefully we'll have more people being able to see this. As all of you know, the county has been devastated by the recent flood event. We are now going into the third day, and we have made substantial progress in terms of getting help in here. I declared a state of emergency, as did Governor Beshear. Governor Beshear was here yesterday. He has promised the full support of his administration. We had our legislative delegation here yesterday. We anticipate that there will be a supplemental budget appropriation to help with flood recovery. It was very clear from the governor's conversation with me that Pike County has been the most hard hit of all counties. There are still areas in the county that we cannot access, that we are having to use search and rescue teams to get into. We know of at least 10 county bridges that are completely washed out. We expect to have an Army National Guard assessment team in to work with Fabian Little and the road department to determine what kind of equipment that they can bring in and what they can do. We've also put in a request for temporary bridging vehicles from the, or temporary bridges from the Army National Guard. That was submitted to Eric Gibson, the Kentucky Emergency Management Director, by Fabian last night. The response was that he believes that will happen. There are three actual National Guard pieces to this puzzle. One is getting equipment in to help clear up slides and do some of the bigger excavation. That's the assessment I was talking about. Two, men and equipment to help distribute water and other supplies. And then three, the bridging equipment. We had FEMA assessment teams on the ground yesterday. They were basically driving the county simply to, they're not in the process yet of opening a disaster recovery center or disaster recovery centers. They were simply assessing the amount of damage to see what resources that they need to bring in. We also had a conversation last night. I sent photographs to Eric Gibson at the State Emergency Management. They will have a team from FEMA in today to do additional assessments. Nee Jackson is providing GPS coordinates and will be taking them to do that. So here's how this works. I declared a disaster. The governor declares a disaster. Those requests for assistance goes up to the White House. President Trump very quickly issued the disaster declaration. That will trigger the Federal Emergency Management Agency and what they can bring to the resources they can bring. There's two pieces to this. There's something called public assistance. Public assistance is assistance that will come to government agencies, the county government, Coal Run, Elkhorn, Pike. That assistance will help pay for damage to public infrastructure. And FEMA will usually pay up to 75% of the damages. The state Department of Emergency Management picks up 12%, 13% falls on the county. Of that 13%, we can use our men and equipment and our time for that match. The individual assistance is what is most important to the individuals and business owners that have been impacted by the flood event. We have a lot of homes destroyed, we have a lot of homes damaged, and we have a lot of businesses destroyed. For most homeowners who don't have flood insurance, there is a benefit, there's an initial benefit of up to, I think, $750. There's a lot of misinformation in North Carolina about, oh, these people just got $750. Those were simply lies. That's not true. There's a $750 payment for immediate assistance, and I think maybe an additional $300 in some cases. But then, if you qualify for a FEMA grant, it's up to $42,500. If you don't qualify for the grant, there are Small Business Administration loans. Now, I'm not sure, and I don't know this, I'm not sure whether the grants would be eligible, if businesses would be eligible for the grants or if they have to go through SBA. I'm not sure about that. We'll get that information. As soon as these assessments are done and there is a decision made that we have enough damage, I can tell you we have enough damage to qualify for public assistance for the county and our utilities, the Mountain Water District and so forth. I'm certain that we are going to qualify for individual assistance. This we did in 2022. This storm is much greater in scope and the number of homes and businesses that have been impacted than what we had in 2022. So as soon as we have information about when FEMA will be here and where they will be, we will put that information out. Now, I want to also talk about what's getting ready to happen. We have a bad situation, or actually a horrible situation that is getting ready to be much worse. We have, starting Wednesday, or actually tonight into Wednesday, we have a forecast for between 4 and 8 inches of snow. Right now, we have this is from the National Weather Service at 7:04 this morning. We have a cold air mass moving in to the region. Temperatures will average 10 to 25 degrees below normal. Snow accumulations are likely to impact travel from late Tuesday night through noon on Thursday. We do not expect a significant river response from this precipitation, and the cold air mass that is in place means that this will be a dry, fluffy snow. Hopefully, we will not have a lot of power lines or trees down due to the weight of the snow. The forecast, the expected snowfall from 7 p.m. Wednesday through 7 p.m. Thursday is from 4 to 7 inches. The heaviest snowfall rates are expected to occur late tonight and into Wednesday morning, with snowfall rates approaching ½ inch to 1 inch per hour. There will be a lull in the snow Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening before snow redevelops briefly Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Again, we do not expect this to be a wet snow, which would cause additional power line problems. There is a 90% chance that Pike County will get up to 4 inches of snow, and there is a 10% chance of higher snow accumulations of up to 8 inches. That covers most all of Pike County. The brushy area in northern Pike County is outside of that 8 inch, and they're anticipating that can only be about 7 inches of snow. Not that that's a whole lot of difference. The thing that concerns me as much as the snow as are the temperatures. And I want to talk to you about the temperatures. The temperatures, the high today will be 33, tonight's low will be 19 degrees. Tomorrow, The high will be 28, a low 16. The high will be under freezing through until Friday. Thursday, the high will be 25 with a low of 10 degrees. Friday, 32 degrees with a low of 14, and it will actually be Saturday before temperatures rebound above freezing, when the high will be 43 degrees and a low of 23. These temperatures are going to pose a problem. We still have about 1,100 customers out of power in Pike County. What has the county fiscal court done? We have worked with Kentucky Power. We have approximately 90 to 95 power company contractors and employees at Mullins Elementary. We worked with Freddie Bowling, superintendent of schools. We are housing the utility company workers there. And hopefully, a lot of this work is going to be done, and some of those contractors likely will be pulled out today or tomorrow. Kentucky Power has been absolutely wonderful to deal with, and they have worked tirelessly to get power restored. We will be getting a brief update from Mountain Water. We have Tammy Olson and Mike Spears from Mountain Water here, so hopefully in a minute we can get that done. Now, I want to talk to you about a few other things. If you know someone who is in a home with no power or that has been flooded, we have shelters set up at Pike County Central High School, Belfry Middle School, and Millard Elementary. Fabian?
I think that Millard Elementary is where we're going to stage the National Guard, and I don't think we can put.
Well, as of right now, it is open. And we will, if we stage the National Guard there, we may have to move those folks. I've got William potentially opening another shelter at Shelby Valley at the high school or middle school. I'm not sure which one it's going to be yet. That was the first shelter we opened. We had to move those folks to Pike Central because of the water outage that hit Shelby Valley. I think that water is back on there now, so if we need to, we can open a shelter there. There is no point in staying in a cold, flooded home when we have places where you can go that are warm, that have food, and you'll be safe. Now, I want to also caution you, if you are using any type of supplemental heat, if you are using kerosene, propane, space heaters, please exercise extreme caution, not only because of the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning, but also because of the risk of fire. We have had tragedies in this county in the past where those types of heating devices have caused structure fires that have claimed lives. Right now, if you have a structure fire, there is no guarantee that we can get help to you because there are 10, like I said, 10 bridges that are out, and we have many roads that are still impassable. We are working diligently to get the roads open, but the scope of this disaster is still unfolding because we're still getting, the ground is still saturated, trees are still coming down, and we're still getting mudslides in a lot of different places. We have had, Fabian and I were up on Hopkins Fork on Saturday, and we almost didn't make it out. And that road, just as an example, we had to send a bulldozer in there just to try to get it back open. It's a major, major undertaking. At some point, once we get most of the heavy lifting done as far as slides cleared, we will be bringing contractors in to do emergency or permanent repairs. We are not bringing contractors in for the emergency stuff because we can't supervise them. We have no way to vet them on such short notice. And I will tell you, I am somewhat offended by the fact that before, while we were still doing water rescues, people were calling wanting business. I know the economy's bad, but you know, I thought it was inappropriate. I thought when you have people who are still, whose lives are on the line, and you're trying to solicit business as a result of a disaster, there's a time and place for that, and it was not when we still had people trapped and people missing. So, based on my conversations with the Kentucky State Police and with Nee Jackson, our emergency management director, and others, I decided to put a curfew in place. And this curfew is not draconian. Nobody's trying to take your rights. This isn't some communist trying to subvert your rights. But Saturday night, Fabian and I were in Long Fork of Virgie. There was literally a refrigerator in the middle of the road, tree stumps, massive debris, and we had people that Fabian and I knew who were just out sightseeing. If you don't live in a flooded area, you have no business there unless you're there to help somebody. If you're not there to shovel mud, help muck out flooded homes, bring supplies, food, or whatever, you're not an emergency responder, you're not a utility worker, you're not a road crew employee, you don't need to be there. You don't need to be out gawking and rubbernecking. Stay away. Let our people do what needs to be done to get this recovery underway. The state police and the sheriff's office are enforcing it. Simply put, if you don't live in an area, you're not allowed in there. If it's flooded, you're not allowed in there. We're not going to tolerate looting. We already, and Fabian and I witnessed this, we saw people down at the trailer park beside of Weddington Plaza, in those trailers that were flooded, trying to swim out to those trailers and get stuff. Coal Run Police had to go take care of it. We stood there and watched that. I've already had one other person here that sent me video of someone carrying a chainsaw. Didn't live there, not their house, but they're carrying a chainsaw. I mean, we have no place for looting after an event like this. It's illegal, and we're not going to tolerate it. But that order simply states that there's a curfew from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. It don't keep you from going to the grocery store. It just says if you don't live in a flooded area and you're not there to do recovery work, you're not allowed there. You're not allowed on the road. That's all it says. And it says even during daylight hours, if you're not living in a flooded area and you're not there to do recovery work, you're not allowed there. And if you don't like that, that's tough. We're going to enforce it. The people who are victims of this don't need to be victimized twice. Now, we are also working through the logistics of how to deal with all of the debris and garbage, the material that are going to be coming out of houses. In 2022, that material was picked up by a state contractor, and the county didn't have to do it. We've had calls for dumpsters. Simply put, we don't have enough dumpsters. We don't have the resources or manpower to use dumpsters. And this material cannot go into the Pike County landfill. If all this flood debris, destroyed household items, et cetera, were to be put in our landfill would end up being closed by the end of this year. We are just simply not in a position to do that. And Fabian, you have something?
Only thing I would like to add is
we're going to have tremendous amount of field that we need to get rid of. If anyone out there needs property field that is not in the flood zone, because if it's in the flood zone, I can't dump there. Any property, any bottoms, anything, if you need field, please contact my office, 432-6230. I'll contact you, someone will. You sign a waiver allowing our trucks on there, because we, like I said, we're going to run out of places, well, we already are, running out of places to put all this material that we're going to be removing out of these hollows. But please, if you have a spot that we can dump in, let us know.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to reiterate what Fabian says. There's going to be a lot of rock and dirt that we're going to have a place to put it. If you have property out of the floodplain that needs to be filled, we need a place to put this material. We'll be happy to haul it there, 432-6230. Now, if you take debris out of your home or your business, here's what we need you to do. All of the natural material and untreated wood needs to be put in one pile. All of the treated lumber and building material from inside your home, carpet and those kind of things, need to be put in a second pile. Third pile would be hazardous materials, batteries, any kind of thing that might be hazardous. And the fourth pile would be household garbage. Do not put household garbage in with flood material. We can take the household garbage to our landfill. The contractors will not pick that up. If we can get a state contract to pick the material up and dispose of it, and that's the thing I'm getting ready to work on as soon as this meeting's over with, we can't mix, they won't take it if we've got household garbage in it. So please keep it separated. This material needs to be put close to the roadway, but it does not need to be close enough to the roadway that it will impact the snow plows that are going to be on the road. So it's a balancing act. It needs to be brought close enough to the road that it can be picked up, but not close enough to the road that it can impact our snow plows. I want to now turn to the issue of donations. We are using the Appalachian Wireless Arena for donations. If you have water, cleaning supplies, tools like squeegees, brooms, mops, shovels in particular, buckets, gloves, it is important that those be taken to the Appalachian Wireless Arena. We are trying to avoid having multiple organizations trying to distribute supplies. And here's why. We don't need duplication of services, and if you're doing it that way, it may mean that we have supplies at Belfry that they don't need, but they might need at Shelby Valley or Millard or Coal Run. So please, let's coordinate this and do it the most efficient way so we can make sure the resources go to where they need to. The National Guard will be distributing items. We've had solid waste employees distributing items. And in addition to the shelters that I previously mentioned, we're going to go through, I'm going to tell you where we have other supplies. Now, if you are working in flood cleanup, let me back up. If you have items to donate, call the Emergency Operations Center at 432-0210, 432-0210. I've said that so much I'm getting confused. They can point you in the right direction for the services or assistance that you need. If it is a life-threatening emergency, a matter of life or death, call 911. Don't call the Emergency Operations Center. And quite candidly, I have people messaging me throughout this event who needed emergency assistance. And I had to pick the phone up and call 911 myself. Do not message someone on Facebook if you need help unless you simply have no other choice. Call 911. The county road department number is 432-6230 if it's a county road issue. I've had people call me about drains. We can't stop right now what we're doing to fix drains. That will have to be done later. If it's a state highway or a federal highway issue, the number is 433-7791. Some people don't know the difference between state roads and county roads. Real simple. A state or federal road usually has painted lines on it. County roads don't. If you live up a holler, most likely it's a county road. There are exceptions to that. But by and large, if you don't know, just call the county road department. We'll point you in the right direction. Now, if you need medical supplies, the sheriff's office will pick prescriptions up for you. Sheriff Scott has volunteered to do that. They've been very helpful. If you need insulin or other assistance, tetanus shots, call the Pike County Health Department. They are working to set up areas where people can go to get vaccinations or immunizations. We have flood buckets, we have water, we have other supplies that will be here, and those are going to be distributed as soon as we are. Samaritan's Purse is here. They are bringing in supplies like space heaters and things like that. We've got a lot of resources coming this way. We've got a lot of search and rescue organizations, volunteer groups. We've got groups here from Indiana, North Carolina, all across Kentucky. We've got the Southern Baptist Convention here. The Church of Christ has brought supplies in. We've got a lot of organizations, and we will have the resources we need to recover. It does take time to get some of those resources in place. We distributed the water that we had yesterday, and we have more water here today. The points of distribution typically will be the fire departments. We will have water and cleaning supplies at the Elkhorn City Fire Department, the Old Virgie High School gym, the Shelby Creek Rescue Squad at Dorton, Sycamore Fire Department, Marbone Fire Department, Station 2. Station 1 was flooded. Station 2, there on 460, will have the equipment or the water and cleaning supplies. Johns Creek Fire Department Station 1 has water only, as does the Kemper Fire Department. The Grapevine Fire Department, water and cleaning supplies, also water and cleaning supplies at Phelps Fire Department, Belfry Station 1. Hatfield Fire Department has water, and the Feds Creek and Blackberry Fire Departments have water and cleaning supplies. Cleaning supplies will be a secondary priority. At this time, all pods will be receiving water only, and we will update it when the cleaning supplies are available. But those are the locations where you will be able to get them. We do have water at those locations now. If you are working in flood cleanup, it is very important that in addition to a tetanus shot, that you wear a mask, a respirator, and that you use gloves. We had a really good idea from some of the folks that had experience in North Carolina that we're going to have the health department coordinating, trying to get water and soil samples from around the area. The folks from North Carolina told us that they did that, and they were shocked at how much hazardous material is in the water and flood mud. We have portable water filtration units that will be here, up to 500 of those that we'll be able to distribute as well. If you need water filtration, call the EOC, 432-0210. In addition, there is a portable water testing unit the health department is bringing in. So if you have concerns about your water being contaminated, particularly if you have a well, please call 432-0210 again, and we will try to get that resource for you. Before I bring up, I'm going to turn it over to the commissioners briefly before I bring up the folks from Mountain Water. I want to thank Tammy Olson and the employees of the Mountain Water District. They have worked around the clock to get water restored, and quite candidly, if you look at some of my earlier briefings, I felt that it would be potentially weeks before some of these areas could be restored. They were able to get the plant at Harles's Creek back up and running. The Williamson Water Plant that serves Commissioner Lewis's area is back up. Is that correct, Tammy? So it is back up. They're pumping water. The city of Pikeville, where part of where my water comes from through Mountain Water, has been running 24/7, and they are filling their tanks beyond what they normally would because of the expected hazards from the flood event and the incoming snow. So I'm going to turn it over to the commissioners. If you all have anything you'd like to talk about, and we'll start with Commissioner Atkins down the end.
Yeah, Judge, I do. I want to clarify something because I'm getting beat up over Marbone not getting water. We've got water at Station 2. We got one pallet. You know, how many residences on Marbone? It's there if people wants it. You know, we're trying to do the best we can do, and we're trying to be sparingly till we get another load of water in and get to people. Instead of one family hoarding up 25 cases, we've cut it to 2 gallons per family till we get more in. But I want that clarified. Marbone's never left out. It's never been left out. I've been chief of the fire department 25 years, and I have worked my rear off to make sure that community's took care of, and I just want to put an end to the people saying I'm leaving Marbone out. I'm not leaving Marbone out. We lost a station, we overcome that, and we're at Station 2, and we will take care of the county, and Marbone Fire Department will take care of Marbone.
Well, I'm going to just follow up on that. As this unfolded, I called Governor Beshear, what do you need? Same thing, he called me in 22, I called him, I beat him to the punch. We're going to need water. You have a truck there tomorrow. That truck that came in from Frankfort couldn't get here because of the water across 23. And they had to completely go around it. They made a mistake, actually, went all the way over to Hazard around when they could have just come down 680 and around. But actually, I'm not sure they could have gotten here because US 23 was blocked at Buckley's Creek. So, but they got here. The county bought 1 truckload from Mother Nature, and I want to thank Estill Bentley. They have been pumping and bottling as fast as they can. And I think we've got another truck that'll be here, another truck from Mother Nature that we're expecting. We've got water coming in. We've got to get it unloaded, and we've got to get it distributed. It's going to all over the county, but you know, you can't get water in places when the roads are still blocked. It's just that simple. Bubby's right. Nobody's being left out. All areas of the county are going to be served. But again, when you've got state and county roads blocked, you can't get there.
Yeah, people don't understand, nobody was prepared really for this. Did we think it was forecasted, but was we 100% prepared? No.
I can tell you this, the county was as prepared as we could be.
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock on Friday, I was on the National Weather Service briefing. They revised lowered the Leviza Fork water projection from 33, 34 feet down to 32 or 33 feet, and they lowered the one for Tug Fork. We ended up going, almost major flood stage in both forks.
Yeah.
I think it got up to 47.5 feet on the Leviza, somewhere around there, and got to 48.5 on the Tug. Well past moderate flood stage, and close to, I think Leviza Fork was within 4 feet of the all-time high record. It got within about 5.5 feet of the all-time high on the Tug. So I don't have an explanation as to how the National Weather Service numbers were off. I'm not a meteorologist. We were prepared. We were monitoring the situation. The state EOC had pre-positioned assets. We knew this was going to be a severe event. That's why Governor Beshear put the state of emergency in place. But nobody forecast river floods on both the Tug and Leviza Fork. We had no idea that was going to happen until it unfolded on Saturday evening.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're not going to leave nobody out, and, that's my home. I'm sure I'm going to do as much for them as everybody else, and I just want people to know that. And these people that's run off at the mouth, upset, frustrated, I know there are a lot of people that's upset and frustrated. I've had maybe 2 hours sleep like you all. Everybody's been up all night trying to figure out what to do to help the people, and it just, we will have water there later today. CJ told me there'd be more water later today. We have showers for anybody that wants to come to that Station 2, 9801 Regina Belcher Highway. Bring them a towel, soap. They can come in and take a shower, the whole family. It's open. Somebody will be there all the time. Somebody was there last night, never left. Anybody that needs to shower, warm place even, it's there, it's open.
We do have shower facilities we'll probably have shower facilities in some of the shelters if they can't do it at the school. We also have portable laundry units, temporary, to help flood victims with their laundry and stuff. So those are coming in as well.
And Judge, I want to thank all the county workers that's been working tirelessly. I know they're all overwhelmed, and you all been here since it started. Judge, you and Fabian and William and everybody's been here. It means a lot, and we'll get through this. People just need to realize everybody's in rough shape right now. It ain't just one area that we can fly in and take care of. It's going to be a long process, But that's it, Judge. And my number's still the same. Anybody wants to talk to me, which they've been several call, my phone ain't quit, call me. I'll talk to you, and I'll give you the best answer that I can.
Phone number's 454-9111.
454-9111, 24/7, always with me.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to start off by thanking everyone here, thanking I just can't thank the fire departments enough here today. When all this was taking place, we definitely are going through a nightmare here in our county. And I've got some areas, the South Wimpson, Belfry, Dix Fork, Phelps, Woodman area over in there that is really, really being hit hard. And I want you to know that we are doing everything that we can possibly do. I promise you. There's nobody in this county sitting on this court out here on the road department, solid waste department. There's nobody slacking. We are doing everything we can. The fire department's unreal. I wouldn't want to wake up tomorrow in this county without our volunteer firemen, I'll tell you right now, because the first night this started, I know for a fact that our guys was out for 2 days, never laid their head down, never done nothing. We got our Swiftwater teams coming in. In the Belfry area, I would like to speak on this a little bit. I've had some people that's brought it up to me. So during the flooding, when that was taking place, we was basically landlocked over in the Belfry area where we had the flood wall. The Tug River had backed up into the Black Gym area, the Double Quick area, all down in there. So you had water, dry, water, dry. We had firemen that was fouled. Actually, my son was one of them. He was fouled and trapped for about 10 hours because we couldn't get to him, and we couldn't get to our shelter either. And, you know, one of the people said, hey, you know, our folks at the shelter does not have food right now. And I was with the Versailles Swiftwater team and Georgetown Swiftwater team. And we got down there to Black Gym, and there was just no way that we could get through and get down there to the high school. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Lisa Hess, Freddie Bowling. I contacted Freddie and Miss Hess, and our folks that was in the shelter was fed at the school from the cafeteria. And they made it happen, and I want to thank them today because we couldn't get food into them. Our Walmarts was gone, our Food City, everything. There was nothing over there, and there was no way out. The Phelps area, over in the Woodman area, we've got people yet that cannot get out. They cannot get out. They have no power. They have no water. A lot of elderly people, children, babies. And we're doing everything we can. I want to thank Billy McCoy at Clintwood JOD. I want to thank Fish, the superintendent up there, the foreman, Dwayne Wolford. Thankfully, Clintwood gave us access, and thank God for that, because now we can get in, heating supplies, food, water, things like that down to those folks in the Woodman, Summer Road area. And, it's just a team. I mean, right now there's no time for politics. There's no time for Democrat, Republican, this, that. It is Pike County and the people and the children and the elderly that are going through pure hell right now. And that's the time right now that we all just need to pull together and make sure that those are the people that we're out there serving and helping, and that's our focus and our vision today. Because I promise you, when you look and you see a child that's freezing, a newborn baby that's cold, a mother that's in labor, that's got an 11-month-old child beside of her, and she's fouled in a home with just her and her grandpa, and she's having another child. I mean, listen, our people are going through a very hard time in certain areas. And I say that because I want you to pray for them. And I want you to do everything that you can to help them also. But also I want to say this. I get a lot of calls. I've not been in bed for 3 days. And I get a lot of calls, and I'm fine with that. You call me anytime, 24/7. You need something, you call me, you reach out to me. We'll do whatever we can to get to you or your need. But please understand this. Our people and our road department and our solid waste department and our fire department, they are doing everything that they can do. And, some people call and be like, hey, are there any way you can open my drain up at my driveway? Or, are there any way you can get the water off the road down here? It's running across the road. Listen, we will get to you. I promise you, we will get to you. But right now, we are trying to take care of those, and we're going to take care of those. And we're going to focus on those people that does not have water, that does not have electricity, does not have heat. They've got children and elderly in the home. Those are going to be the priority. And I don't want people mad at me, but I hope that people is not so selfish that they don't understand we have lives on the line here today in this county, and we're going to focus on them. And that's exactly what we have done, and that's what we're going to continue to do until we ensure that our people are safe. And after that, we will get out there to you, and we'll clean your road. We'll clean your ditch out. We'll do those things. But right now is just not the time, the place, nor do we have the manpower and the people to do all that small stuff. So please, pray for those people. Thank God for you. Thank God for everyone that has pitched in and helped. And thank God for the fire departments, the EMS, our police officers, and these swiftwater teams that have come in here. I think that the count in South Wimpson the other day, and I'm sure it's went up. Nee could probably tell us more about it. But I had asked some of the firefighters, and I asked my son, I said, how many of you guys rescued, up to today? And he was sitting there counting, and he said, Dad, I think we're at 85 right now over here. So I promise you, we're trying our best. So you remember everyone in your prayers today, and thank God for all of you. Ronald?
One thing I'd like to say is that I appreciate all the work that everybody in the judge's office and everybody set up all weekend, and the road district, the road crew, they have worked tremendously. They was out last night after dark, and they're working real hard to make sure we can get everybody where they can get in and out where, somebody's stuck. But, I got a little touch of that Saturday. I got stuck from home. So I got back home about 10 o'clock Sunday. I met Chuck coming down the holler. He was going over to help out. And I went up to the house and I said, I'm going to lay down here until I go to sleep, man. The old phone kept ringing. I said, well, I just got back up and hit the road and went and seen a bunch of people. But I want to appreciate everybody that, like he said, the fire department, all these people, without them, we'd be in trouble. But that's all I have. We'll try to get all the roads fixed. It'll take us a while, but we got to get the people in and out first. That's the main goal, I think.
Can I add one more thing to that? I want you to know that in the Phelps area, if you need help, assistance, you can always call 911, absolutely, if it's an emergency situation, life-threatening. But I want to say Kevin Dotson over at the Phelps Fire Department has really been a huge help, him and his fire department. I want to thank the principal at the Phelps High School, Mike Hamilton. I called Mike last night. We had some folks that was trying to stay at the fire department. They didn't have no mats or cots, and I think that Greg, I'm pretty sure Greg followed up with some right after we got off the phone, but Mike did open up the school for us and let us have some mats and cots to go down there to the fire department at Belfry. So I want to thank those folks also.
All right. We will, I'll be doing some additional Facebook Live updates as we have more information. Keep in mind that as the snow comes down too, it's going to be really hard. We can't salt. If the road is damaged, it's going to be hard to plow. And some of these roads that are washed out, you can't put salt on dirt. You can't put salt on mud. Some of these roads are so damaged, the salt's not going to work. So we're going to try to scrape where we can. Some of these roads may not be able to be scraped. So we're going to, just have to understand if you're on a damaged road, it's going to make travel that much more treacherous. And our road crews are I hope people understand this, that if it's dangerous for you to be on the road, it's just as dangerous for the snowplow drivers to be on the road too. They're not magic vehicles. In the last snow event, we had a bunch of them got stuck and ran off the road. If it's slick for your car or truck, it's slick for them, and they take their lives in their hands every time they go out to plow snow. It's dangerous. So please be understanding that there will be some roads that they simply will not be able to clear. There are some roads that District 12 has told us they're not going to be able to clear like they normally would. Some roads may only be one lane. There's a lot of embankment failures, roads that are washed out. So again, please understand what we're dealing with. This is going to make this flood recovery much more difficult. One very good piece of information that we have is we believe all missing persons have been accounted for. If that's the case, unfortunately, we still ended up with 3 fatalities. It could have been much, much worse. And, it's three families that have lost loved ones, and, our hearts go out, our hearts go out to them, our prayers, but it could have been a lot worse. And please, please don't do anything that's going to cause that toll to go up. Again, carbon monoxide poisoning, space heaters. Governor Beshear said yesterday in the last ice storm they had four people die clearing snow due to heart events. We had 1 death during the flood recovery here in 2022. So, the recovery process is just as dangerous as the event itself in many ways. So take that into account if you choose to go out on the road, if you're working in this flood recovery, and in particularly when the weather hits. At this time, I'm going to ask Tammy and Mike to come up. I'm going to ask just briefly if we could, that's how Roger's office called me. I'm going to have to call them back here in a second. Tammy, we need to speed this up real quick because if you want to just give me a 1,000-foot view of the budget and where we are in terms of everything.
We have a budget narrative and a copy of the budget there with you. I'm going to let Mike go over everything that's pertinent and briefly, and we'll just move on from that.
First of all, thank you all, county workers, thank you, Mount Mark, all the employees, fire department. We live in a very close to this. Not about my mind, especially. Every year we start the budget process, and I'm going to just go over the budget narrative you've got real quick, because I know we've got much more pressing needs today. We start with the previous 12 months, look at actual revenues, actual expenditures, and we budget and forecast based on those 12 months of things we know are going up, going down. Anything that's known, we try to account for. There's always, as this flood, there's always unaccounted for stuff that you can't predict. We have built some few safeguards into it, but for these events, but you can't cover anything of this magnitude. I don't think we could have foreseen it. And that previous 12 months, we start the budget process in November, and we try to get it done by submittal January 15th with the DLG. We met 3 times during the process, or 4. We had some personnel committee meetings that were incorporated into this as well. Debt service capital projects that we have, that the district has. And we consulted our operations manager and our wastewater manager and Superintendent Olson. 3 committee members other than them. But the adjustments made were residential water sales were increased to the projection on the rate increase, $303,112 for the year. Based on when the rate increase went into place, it was about January before we could get the billing and actually saw the first revenues from those. I think we started with end of December period going into January is the first time we actually were able to bill.
I
Yes.
interrupt you, okay? I've looked at this, I think it's a very responsible budget. Some people want to know, well, Mount Water raised the rates. Well, let me say, what they don't realize is the cost to even provide the service keeps going up.
Yeah.
The system is aging, and if you don't fix the water leaks and get that taken care of, it's just gonna keep going up.
Yeah.
You all had experienced exactly what we did. We had a 17% increase in our health insurance premium last year. Your all's, the cost to you all went up over 100 and, I saw it in here,
130,000, right?
130,000 it cost you more to provide health insurance to your employees. And if you don't have that kind of benefit, you're not gonna keep quality people.
No,
You know, I mean, things are not gonna get cheaper. And I know a lot of people struggle, a lot of people hurt, but you're on the right path to make sure that you all don't end up in the same shape that Martin County ended up in.
yes.
Now, I mean, you know, let me say this. If you want a service, you have to pay for it. It's just that simple.
Absolutely.
You know, and people have this notion that the government can just keep providing a service. The money's got to come from somewhere, and it comes from either the taxpayers or the customers.
Yeah.
And I said when I became judge that as long as I had a role in it, we would not let Mountain Water go the same path that Martin County did. And if you don't know about the Martin County problems, you might want to get online and Google it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Horrible. And they're still having trouble, and they're still having financial trouble over there. And I had a conversation last week with Judge Lafferty, Lon Lafferty. They got a man that cares over there, and he's trying his best. He's a good judge. But he's fighting an uphill battle because they don't have a tax base, and they're losing population. And, you know, Pike County's a lot better off than a lot of counties, but we've got a good board. We've got a responsible board, and you are doing a good job, and I appreciate it. So I'm going to make a motion to acknowledge receipt of your budget. And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Atkins. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis? Judge Jones?
Yes, now, can you give me a quick update on where we are in terms of water restoration? That's the most important thing right now.
Yes, I brought an update as of the latest numbers for this morning. The initial tanks, you can just skip through that. That's where we were when we started.
Just tell me where we are now.
We have overnight, we've restored service to approximately 3,000 residents, and we're at about 7,000 still without service. We are moving water toward, we've got Penny Road, Caney Booster Pump Station, all that's restored. We've got, we're moving water toward the Shelby Tank, Dorton, Greasy Creek to Shelby Dry Fork. We fixed problems in the Kemper area, so we're moving water that direction, which once it gets to the Kemper area, we can move it on toward Phelps. Phelps 1 tank would be first. As long as we can keep that in water and it can fill up, then we can send it on to Phelps 2 in the farther reaches in Phelps. You'd already mentioned that the City of Williamson restored our water service yesterday. We do purchase about 20% of our water from them, and pretty much all of it in the Pond Creek area we resell from Williamson. So we're starting to gain at the Southside Mile Tank. We'd gotten it up to about 5 feet before we tried to turn on Toller to send it toward Hardy and Blackberry, and it dropped out to 1 foot. So we had to kind of ease back on that and see where the problem is up that road and then turn that back on. But we are replenishing the tanks in the Pond Creek area. It's a slow process because, as you all know, it's a daisy chain. So the Sharondale tank has to fill before the Stone tank can fill, before the McVeigh tank can fill. And as you move, people are using water, so it makes it a little bit more when they get it back on, a little slower. The hardest hit areas are Maribon, especially around Rock House. We have about 600 feet of 8-inch line that just gone. We're going to have to go back in there and relay that, but right now our goal is to get as many people back on as quick as we can and then circle back to those areas like Rock House, Long Fork of Virgie, some of the most hardest hit.
and get those addressed as well. I do want to say that we're also working on the wastewater side to get lift stations that flooded repaired, and we're continuing to do that. Our internet outage, thank you, Judge Jones, for helping us to get the internet back on at the Russell Fork water treatment plant. It is now back up and running. We have phones. We can see telemetry. That was a big help. I do want to point out that we have, Kentucky Rural Water Association developed a water service survey that we have now put on our website. It's also on Facebook on my page at Tammy Olson. And basically, any customer, even if you have water, but if you have it, if it's low pressure, if it's completely out, you can fill out that survey and it will link it in real time directly to my ArcGIS mapping. And it will help us see in red, if you answer the survey and it says that I'm out of water, it's a red dot. If you're low pressure, it'll be yellow. If you have water, it'll be green. Answer that survey as many times as your service changes. That helps us to visually track where we need to go next. But we are, it had to start with the Maribone area and the Russell Fork plant. It went down, we did get it repaired within 24 hours and started pumping again, but it all starts from there. So US 460, the Maribone area, all that has to be repaired before we can start eking it out into the system and distributing it to areas like Shelby Valley, Dorton, Farrells Creek, Feds Creek. So let me go over real fast. Other thing is the boil water advisories. We did issue a county-wide boil water advisory, but we did it in 4 zones. Pond Creek, Grapevine has one, Maribone has its own, and Shelby Valley has its own. That way I can lift it in zones and not wait for the whole county to be repaired before I lift a boil. So anybody in the county right now is under a system-wide boil water advisory when your service is restored. Even if you have it as a precaution, you're still on there until I can lift your zone. Our goals for today in the Shelby Valley area, we're going to turn on all the sides from the Dorton tank on US 23 up to Dorton Jenkins Highway, trying to get water moved up into Elkhorn Creek. If all is well there, we'll begin to pump down to the Elkhorn tank and move it down that way. That's probably one of the longest extended lines. They're usually first out and the last back in because they're so far out. But we are concentrating on trying to move some water that direction to try to shorten that recovery time. In Maribone area, we're taking water from the Farrells Creek and Feds Creek areas, moving that toward Grapevine, and we've opened the feed up to Elkhorn City. We're doing it a little slowly at first until we determine if they have leaks on their side that's going to pull us out on our side, but we are starting to move water toward Elkhorn City today. We're going to be turning on all the sidelines on US 460, such as Pompey, that feeds into Raccoon Creek, and also helps to supplement any out on the Johns Creek Zebulon side. We'll be repairing a river crossing at the Shelby Bridge today with a directional bore. Once that repair is complete, we can start moving water down toward Collins Highway in that direction. Grapevine area actually did great. A lot of that area is actually 100% supplied, or a large part supplied through Pikeville Water, and they've done an excellent job helping keep that whole area in, except for Raccoon Creek, and it's served through the Pompey tank, which comes around the backside. So we're working on that today. As I said, over in Pond Creek, now that Williamson's pumping to us, we are moving water into the tanks toward South Williamson, Turkey Creek, down toward the hospital, anywhere that we can get it in South Williamson. Once we get an issue fixed on the Toller side, the Toller pump station was flooded and we fixed it, so it's ready for water, but there's something pulling there too much. So we're investigating that today. As soon as we can get that issue fixed, we'll be moving it toward Hardy, Blackberry, and then moving it on up 119 toward Sharondale and the Stone areas. We're actually bringing water as far as we can bring it from Pikeville up past Big Creek on the main lines, just to try to supplement at Coburn Holler, Stone Tank, and up that direction. We're trying to restore service. We can't do that for very long That's an emergency situation only. But we are trying to supplement to try to take pressure off of the south side end so that we can get more over to Blackberry. Unfortunately, Blackberry is another place like Elkhorn. It's usually the first out and the last back in because of the distance that it is. But we're working that direction, putting, tendrils out. It's going all over the place. Kemper, Phelps 1 on Route 632 will be a priority today so that we can keep it moving toward the Phelps 2 station and get it out toward Phelps Jamboree down toward Hurricane Creek and that area. I had a message the other day, somebody put on there that, what about this area? I haven't seen not one mountain water truck out all day. And all I can tell them, is we're there. We may be down on the riverbank where you can't see us. Or we may be down in the creek where you can't see anything, but we're out there. We got about 50 field employees. Some of them are flooded out. Some of them can't get out, and they're walking out to the end of their holler to be driven to work. They don't have water. They don't have power at their house either, and they've got children and families, but they're out there doing it. We appreciate your all's patience so much. This is going to be a lengthy process. Everybody wants to know an estimated time of restoration, and unfortunately, until we can access every area, especially the hardest hit, and we're able to find out where all the breaks are, we can't give you that. We're trying to move it as far as we can. When we start getting pullbacks from things that look like they're draining tanks as we go, we're going to have to valve that off and find the problem before we can move farther. It's a long process, and I do want to say we were as prepared as we could be. Every tank, we have 108 tanks in this county. We are unique. If you go down to central or western Kentucky and you tell them how many tanks and pump stations we have to run the water system in this county, they look at you like you've got two heads, because it's unique, unreal, and humongously complicated infrastructure. So we filled all our tanks to maximum capacity. We had all of our generators ready. Everything was ready. What we didn't expect was places like 300 feet of river line just gone. 500 to 600 feet at Rock House of Maribone, gone. That drains the tank so fast, and then the one behind it drains, and the one behind it drains, and it was unfortunately, it became a domino effect, and unfortunately, we couldn't get into the areas in the first 24 hours because they weren't accessible. So we spent several days, existing on tank storage and line storage, but that's where we are today. We're out there, we're working tirelessly. We're trying to send it in every direction, but as I said, the best and fastest way that we can make impacts is get the most on now and push it out as far as we can. And then those areas that are devastated, and it's not our intention to make it harder for those folks, but we want to get, of those 7,000 we've got left, we want to get as many on as we can and then go back to the areas that are the hardest hit, where we've got to maybe take 2 or 3 days to do road bores. We might have to bring in contractors. We might have to relay river crossings and lines.
And this is going to be a substantial cost to Mountain Water.
Yes.
Overtime, we've gone through God knows how much overtime in the last 2 or 3 weeks in our road department. And hopefully, this is going to be something we can recoup back from FEMA, but it's still a major expense. Well, I had a buddy of mine sent me a message this morning. He lives up at Elkhorn Creek. Asked a question about there's a line that's exposed, and he's afraid it's going to freeze. What's your advice on that?
Well, what I can say on that is, if he will call into the office and ask for me specifically, if I have anybody available, I will send them that way. But just like you all, we are concentrating on restoring service, not covering lines, and not the things that we absolutely. A lot of times those lines are serving people right now that are out of water. There's no water in that line anyway. So it depends on where it's located, but our priorities right now are restoring service to the customers, of Pike County and getting as many back on as soon as possible as we can. But if he wants to call, you can give him my cell phone number, 606-359-5886. I'll look into it, see if there's actually, if that's a live line. If it is, and I have anybody available that's not actually actively restoring service, I can send them that way.
I appreciate you all.
Appreciate you, too. Thank you so much for all your support. We appreciate everybody's patience during this time. I know the first few days, it's very easy, a lot easier to have patience than it is when it's 4 days out, 5 days out, 6 days out. But be assured that all of our crews are working. We're dedicated. We have the best group of employees we've ever had. They work well together. They coordinate well together. And we're not concentrating on just one area. We're concentrating on starting with the water plant and moving it out in fingers. And I like to say the analogy of, if you imagine going to the grocery store and buying a big clump of grapes, and you strip all the grapes off, that's like our system. You've got one main trunk that goes up the middle of that clump, and then you've got the fingers and the tendrils that go out, and it's one way. We don't have a loop. Everything goes out to the end of a line, and you've got hollers and hollers and hollers, and they're all out there, and every single one of those is a potential leak. And until we can narrow all that down, we have to concentrate on the mains and the tanks first, and then we'll be able to go back to each individual tendril, line, holler, and turn those on. So please bear with us. We're trying really hard. We're working really hard. We have a great group of guys. Please remember that they don't have water or power either, a lot of them at their homes, but they're out working for you guys every single day. And, we'll get it just as fast as we can. Estimated restoration times are just not possible because we just haven't been able to see all the damage that we can get to, and we're getting it out there as fast as we can.
Ms. Olson, I'd like to take this time to thank Timmy Lucas,
Absolutely.
Jason Fiscal, Andrew Hatfield, Brandon. We had a problem just maybe a couple of weeks ago, and those guys was like at 10 o'clock at night. They was out there working like dogs and doing all they could, and it was so cold. It was horribly cold, and I want to thank those guys publicly because
Thank you.
they're awesome guys.
I'll relay that. We don't get that enough, and we appreciate that.
Well,
These
I
guys are out.
I wouldn't want to have been out there. I went with them and stuff, but I wasn't down in no water meter and down in the mud and water
Right.
with them.
Well, as Judge Jones did say, that especially toward the end of this week, it's going to get in the, very low digits. Our guys are still going to be out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're going to be wet in
Yeah,
10-degree weather. And it's miserable, and it's hard to do anything and move, but they're still doing it. And so, again, I pray for your patience. This is not any of our first rodeo. I've been doing FEMA-declared disasters and disasters in this county since 2003. This one is different. I've never had one where we couldn't get in fast enough to the people. We had no access to the lines to stop the bleeding, as it were, as they drained. The fact that the water stayed up for so many days after that we couldn't get into them to start that, it just impacted how long this is going to take to recover. But we thank the people of Pike County for their support and their patience, and please understand that we're working as fast as we can, and we'll return your service as soon as possible. I will say that the judge did mention about potential fires from additional heating, attempts at heating, and please remember, there's not water in every line in the county. Please be extra careful, because even if your fire departments are available and can get to you, that line may not be live yet. So we really need to get people to understand that they need to take extra precautions, especially now, to prevent any kind of issues like that. But we thank you. My door's always open. Judge has my cell phone. If any of you all need to contact me at any time, I have my cell phone on me at all times.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. we're going to move through this quick. Next item is the adoption of resolution authorizing an application and approval to execute all requirements for a 2025 Justice for Families Program grant through the U.S. Department of Justice. This is for the EPA program. Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Atkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lewis. Any question or discussion? Seeing none. We're going to go round through it. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Next item, and I don't think this needs, it's a deserved honor, and I know that if he were still with us, he would be boots on the ground trying to help people. And this is a resolution requesting the General Assembly to name a portion of 119 in Pike County between mile markers 20.9 and 23.7 in honor of Coach Philip Haywood. I suspect Commissioner Lewis has a motion.
Yes, absolutely. I make that motion.
Commissioner Lewis has a motion, and I will make a second, since Coach Haywood was a good friend of mine. And any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Gladly, yes.
And Judge Jones?
Yes. All right, Frankie, we've got this report of the financial statements from the housing authority. Is everything in order? Okay. We don't have to do this today, do we? Let's pass over it till Frankie gets to look at them. We can do them next time. All right, adoption of a resolution in support of a Homeland Security Law Enforcement Protection Grant for tasers and software for the Sheriff's Department. Motion in authorization for the judge to execute all documents. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Atkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Scott. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Next item is an approval to execute an agreement with Tim Trent authorizing him to act as a land agent to represent the trail system. Didn't we already have this in place? Okay. All right, is there a motion to authorize?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Atkins. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Let me, could we do something? Would there be a motion to reconsider this matter and lay it on the, and to table it until the next court meeting? Would y'all withdraw your motion?
I will draw.
Yeah.
Withdraw a motion. Let's pass over this. I want to talk to Jerry about it before we do it. Okay? All right. But we have a motion to withdraw. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Atkins. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, no. Okay. That motion is withdrawn. I'm not ready to do that yet. Authorization to file for a 2025 Wildlife Defense Grant and approval for the judge executive to execute all related documents. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Atkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Scott. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. Next item is adoption of resolution authorizing an application approval to execute required documents for a FEMA hazard mitigation application for Zebulon Heights. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Scott. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lewis. I have a question about this. What's the purpose of this? Just tell me, what's the purpose of it?
Oh, it's a soil stabilization that's behind some houses. Every time it comes a storm or big heavy rain washes down on the houses.
Why isn't the developer responsible for that?
I'm sorry?
Why is the developer not responsible for that? Why are the taxpayers billing out the developer?
Yeah, you have to, I mean, other forces guys get sued.
What's that? Come on.
Only other thing he's got to do is sue the property owner about it.
Well, hang on a second. Come up here a minute, Eric.
Okay.
What I'm trying to figure out, you're talking about where those houses are over there and one up behind the other.
Yes.
Well, my question is, it wouldn't be the homeowner. Who developed it?
Kevin Prater.
Why are we using taxpayer dollars to fix a private problem?
That application has been submitted before, and it got requested to update it. And,
I'm just trying to figure this out. I mean, somebody makes money and develops a subdivision, and there's problems with it, and it falls back on the
well,
taxpayer.
I think it's coming from the property above these houses that Kevin owns.
Well, I mean, why are we bailing it? Why would we?
I understand.
I want some more information on this.
KYEM.
I've got an issue with this.
Okay.
That needs to be looked into.
That needs to be looked into. I mean, that's not the purpose of a hazard mitigation grant, if it's a naturally occurring problem due to flooding or something like that. If it's a problem that was created by the way property was developed, that's not a FEMA problem. FEMA's already got their own hands full. I mean, at this point in time, I'm not for this. I'm not, you've got 3 votes there if they want to do it.
That's fine.
I want to know why it should be the taxpayer's responsibility, why that the fiscal court is having to bail out somebody on a private development.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean,
Then why are we doing it?
I was just asked to do it by Kentucky Emergency Management to submit it. It's a 75, 25, 13, and the 13% would be the responsibility of the homeowner.
Well, I mean.
87% of that, yes, is
Well, I mean,
taxpayer dollars.
who at emergency management, because I've not been contacted about it.
Yeah, this one's been going on, Judge, for several years. I was dealing with this when I was an employee of Pike County Fiscal Court. That's how far it's been.
I know, but I mean, they hadn't been brought to my attention even when you were here as far as why we would be
Yeah.
doing that.
Well, the reason then it got turned down.
Well, there's probably
Back
a good
then.
reason it got turned down.
Yeah, it got turned down. We'd submitted it, it got turned down. That's the reason why it never came before you.
Well, I mean, I don't know that FEMA would pay for a problem that was created as a result of a private development.
Yeah, this is just in consideration. Yeah, I mean, if it's something the court doesn't want to do, I'll notify Kentucky Emergency Management.
I'd like to see some more information. I'd like to see all the documents and stuff. I'm just not.
Copy of the application, I think, is in your folder, but if you want to table it to next time, Judge, that's fine with me.
I want to have a conversation at the appropriate time on this.
Okay.
Ask her who. Jean. Here you go. All right, let's pass over that. Is everybody okay with that till we get more information?
Yep.
All right, Greg. $750,000.
Judge, something we had in our capital plan for this year was a new grapple truck. This is a mid-sized Mack truck, a 6-wheeler that has a 20-yard box on the back of it. It has a 16-foot boom with a grapple to pick things up. We have an older one right now that we're using. It's got to a point to where it's hard to get parts for. So we kind of tentatively talked to Worldwide about this truck and got some pricing and some quotes on it. A few months ago, I was able to work with Sharon, and Sharon was able to get this truck qualified to purchase through our AMLR grant. We've been awarded the AMLR grant, but the money's not going to be available for a few months because of, kind of what's happened here in the county in the last week. It would be great to be able to go ahead and purchase this truck now, something we can do. We can place an order to have another truck just like this in the next several months when the AMLR money is available. Chuck said it would be a huge help to him to have 2 of these trucks with the way, the solid waste and this fiscal court is wanting to try to get this county cleaned up some more in the next, in the next few years. It would be a great help to us. This was something that was on the capital plan to be able to move in the AMLR grant, was gonna get a grant to pay for it instead of having to pay for it through the capital plan. But at this point, with the need we have, with what's happened in the last several days here in the county, it might be a good thing to go ahead and use that capital plan and go ahead and buy this one truck and then be able to purchase another one like it in the next several months and be able to get the AMLR grant to pay for it.
We've got one boom truck, right, Chuck?
It's down.
It's down, and right now, he can't get parts for it.
Cannot get parts.
They've
So-
been trying to get the parts on Amazon.
Darren has the parts ordered, but they're from eBay. That's where we're at.
Okay, so here's what we need to do. We need to buy this one, and we need to get another one through the grant. Sharon, we need to get another one through the grant. We need 2 boom trucks. I mean, you can't be without a boom truck.
No,
So-
we've had one dumpster float off, we gotta gather those things up, because we got people with white dumpsters.
All right. I'm gonna
This-
make a motion. Is this bid or is it on state contract?
No, this is on state contract. This truck was finished up and completed and ready to go. I got a call last week. This truck was
Okay.
ready
I'll
when
make
we
a
needed.
motion
The
to buy
total
this
cost is
truck.
$206,688, and
I'll
it's
make a
available now.
motion to buy this truck and authorize the treasurer to issue payment for the same. And who is this through?
Worldwide Equipment.
I'll make a motion to purchase this,
I'll second it.
we have a motion second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
That's all I have, Judge. Thank you.
Fabian, we don't need a road supervisor's report. We already covered all that, haven't we?
Yeah, I will, honestly, we didn't use some money on it because of everything going on.
That's-
Foreman didn't have time to,
We don't need to do it?
No.
Okay, we're good. All right. Treasurer's business.
I'll do all these as one motion, Judge. Authorize the following interfund transfer for January 2025 to transfer $874,414 from the general fund to the jail fund. That's the final amount budgeted to transfer in. Acknowledge receipt of the treasurer's monthly financial statement ending January 31st, 2025. Acknowledge receipt of the sheriff and clerk's 2550 report for January 2025. Authorize payment of the expenditure approval list dated yesterday, plus any other utility bills received until checks are run, which will probably be Friday. And finally, to authorize checks for lodging registration expenses for any employee who needs to attend the KMCA Spring Conference, March 26th through the 27th at the Griffin Gate Marriott in Lexington.
Hang on one second. $57,000 in salt. 57,000 of the bill payment list was salt.
oh, yeah, Judge, that will increase because we have a large order that has not been delivered yet. So, you know, we're gonna have another one here short. This was a hard win on us as far as solid.
It ain't over yet.
It is not. And that's scary because honestly, we are a little on sorry. We anticipated this order to be in, before now. And we have called, trying to deal, you know, with it.
I want to just bring something to the attention of the folks out there. On this bill payment list, there's $843,358.80 that we're paying, that will be paid to Kingcrete Drilling. And that's our contractor that's doing the FEMA repairs on the previous storm damages, mostly 2022, correct?
No, honestly, a lot of that was not.
That's the 600 and something is the NRCS project that was caused by the July 20.
Okay.
And then 170,000 is drill steel on the same road, which is July 20.
That's what I'm saying. This was, yeah.
It was all, yeah,
It was in CRS, not FEMA.
right, yeah, 650,000, I think, is NRCS, and the rest is FEMA. That
So-
was all July flood.
So that's just on basically one road. That's Dorton Creek, okay? almost $800,000 on Dorton Creek from one flood event. I suspect that when all's said and done, the storm damage on this to county infrastructure will probably be 2 to 3 times, if not more. It will be more than this. I mean, you're talking, Frankie, how much damage do you think what was the number on the 22 event to county infrastructure?
The FEMA number on the July flood was $20 million. It was right at $20 million just for FEMA. That doesn't count the NRCS.
I'm gonna say we could be looking 50 million, Fabian. Could it be that much?
Oh, honestly, I would expect it to be higher than 50 million. I really do, because that's just like you said, that's one road, and that was just one localized area between two.
Yeah, I mean, 22 was predominantly Elkhorn Creek, down through Dorton, some in Shelby Valley. A lot of it was along Fork of Virgie, some in Little Robinson. It was that was 20 million in one. This storm could be well over 50 million. I suspect it will be. So, and that is just for the drill steel on Dorton Creek, not counting all the other work. So, I just hope the public understands how important FEMA is to county governments and how much that we depend on that. If we didn't have that program, this county would have been broke a long time ago, as would a lot of other communities. And it's important, and that's why when they come in here, we've got to make sure we get these damage assessments done. I just wanted to point that out, okay? So we do have the treasurer's list. Is there a motion to approve the transfers as stated by the treasurer? And to authorize the items on the treasurer's business list?
Yeah, make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Lewis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Atkins. Any comments or discussions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes, Bobby, have you got the personnel list? Yes. And it's not in the packet. I thought it was, but it's not. I'm sorry. Let's put this on my desk. Okay. All right. It is my motion to acknowledge hiring Jonathan Copley as a loader, solid waste lot, solid waste at 2H rate of pay effective 2/12/25. To acknowledge hiring Brad Tackett as heavy equipment operator, special crew to 6H rate of pay effective 2/7/25. To acknowledge the resignation of Connor Addington effective 2/7/25. To acknowledge hiring Brian Booth as foreman, road lot 3 to 4A rate of pay effective 2/21/25. To acknowledge hiring Doug Tackett temporarily as a deputy emergency management coordinator, 4A rate of pay effective 2/17/25. To acknowledge hiring Mary Stanley as administrative assistant, 2A rate of pay effective 3/3/25. To acknowledge hiring Buffy Deskins as emergency special assistant in the road department, 2A rate of pay effective 2/24/25. And to acknowledge moving Thomas Thacker to temporary deputy road supervisor at a 5A rate of pay effective 2/18/25. Is there a second?
Second that.
Second by Commissioner Lewis. Any question or discussion? Seeing that, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
I'm gonna abstain.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes. All right. Any other business to come? I'm not going to go through here. Anybody have anything else we need to talk about? Okay.
Just a lot of work ahead of us. We need to go,
Yeah.
don't we?
We got to go. Yeah, I got
All
stuff.
kinds
Yeah,
of things.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn? I'm sorry.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Atkins.
Second.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Lewis. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Atkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Lewis?
Yes.
Judge Jones?
Yes, we are adjourned.